Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Almost 3 a.m. here in Carlsbad, so things are quieting down. You can see the streets are pretty quiet behind me, except for the street sweeper. So my name is Kent, the channel's EOS San Diego, and we just have a few days left in April. Then we're on to May, and then big announcements in June. And of course, the big announcements have been promised by Block 1. And Block 1 has enough going for it right now that I don't think they need to exaggerate anything. If they tell you there's big announcements, there will be big announcements. A lot of people say, well, there's a lot of hype and speculation going on. Well, until we know exactly what it is, you know, everybody's going to be speculating somewhat. But I assure you it's going to be something big. And I assure you Dan Lermer isn't exaggerating. I'm assure you that Brock Pierce isn't exaggerating. And I assure you that Brendan Bloomer's not exaggerating, as well as everybody else. Because they don't need to. I mean, they already got enough going for them. They don't need to. The reputation's big enough that they don't need to exaggerate. So anyway, expect big things to happen in May. Hopefully price comes up a lot. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about double sets of books. Because I grew up in a farming family, and farmers are known to run double sets of books because obviously farming is not a lot of profit in it unless you are able to show one set of books to the tax guy and one set of books to somebody else. I'm not saying that negatively. I'm just saying that it's kind of like a thing that goes on with farmers. And please forgive me if I'm offending any farmers out there. Maybe I should use another story. What I'll use a story when I was a young stockbroker. When I was a young broker, of course I went to college, got a business degree, but I didn't learn accounting very well because I didn't like accounting. When I was a kid, debits and credits weren't the most exciting thing for me, especially on a Friday night when there was a party to be going on. I wasn't too interested in debits and credits and balance sheets and income statements and all that good stuff. So I didn't really pay too much attention. So after I got out, I got a job as a stockbroker, and they didn't really care that I knew anything about the financials either. But as I was selling companies to people, I realized I didn't know anything about accounting, or very little, and couldn't even really read a financial statement, or couldn't read the quarterly financial statements or financial statements on companies. And I really didn't know, I didn't even know about shares outstanding. I knew nothing, actually, because they didn't teach you that stuff. I mean, when you take the Series 7 brokerage license, I think a lot of it's just about rules and regulations. They don't really teach you about company and analysis and all that kind of stuff. Been a long time ago, but that's what I kind of remember. But anyway, I think I went to the head of the brokerage, and I told him, I said, hey, I don't know anything about financials. I don't know anything about accounting. And he goes, that's okay. You don't need to know that. That's analysis is paralysis. Just need to learn how to sell. So I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, I remember listening to Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett said, accounting is the language of business. And I took that to heart because I thought, wow, I'm not going to do my clients a justice if I don't know anything about the books. So I need to really start studying the books, or learn how to read accounting statements, and learn how to know if a company's making money or losing money. And so I actually went back and picked up an accounting degree after I graduated from school because I wanted to know accounting, and actually ended up studying for the CPA here in California. I didn't pass the CPA, but I actually sat for the CPA. Had enough hours in accounting to become a CPA. I could never do auditing. I think there were 4 parts of it. I can't remember, but there was one part I could never pass, and that was the auditing part. But anyway, the reason I tell you this story is because after I learned accounting, and I was looking at books and companies and all of a sudden trying to study them and figure out what was going on with them and try to find out financials, I realized there was so much accounting that was creative accounting, and so many tricks with the accountants, and so many tricks with the way accounting was done, that I realized I went and studied all this accounting and then couldn't really trust it after all that study anyway. Not that there's fraud out there, I don't want to say that, but just there's a lot of creative accounting. There's some tricks I could tell you that the companies use to hide stuff in the books. But the reason I tell you that story is because that's why we need the blockchain, because the blockchain brings everything out and makes everything transparent. is the blockchain is transparency, not the double set of books, not hiding stuff or not doing creative accounting or anything like that. It's much more difficult if everything is transparent for that to happen. And a lot of people will say, well, I like it when we can have the double set of books, because that helps me to be a little bit more creative and get an edge on the account, on the tax man. Well, I understand that, and I kind of get where you're at, but also you got to realize that if you live in a world with transparency, you may make more money that way. You might not have to be able to hide stuff from the tax man, because you may do a little bit better because of the transparency, and you may be able to have a more efficient system. So that's what I'm saying. Roundabout way of saying that things can be more efficient by blockchain. And I learned that the hard way by going back and learning the accounting and studying that and realizing that even after all that, you can still have things that don't make sense or add up, or that are honest. And like I say, not saying accounting's not honest. Obviously, the accounting system is, it's like someone told me one time, it's numbers don't lie, but accountants do. And not saying anything negative about accountants either. You got to be so think about what you're saying all the time, because you never know how people take it. I'm not saying anything like that. All I'm just saying is that transparency is a good thing. Transparency is a way to make things more efficient. That's all I need to say. That's all I've said, and that's all I'm saying in this whole thing. Transparency is efficiency. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.